Biggest difference between a self-employed and a business owner is a business owner should have a business that is able to operate at peak performance or peak levels without them needing to be there. I'll repeat that one more time. A business owner is someone who has systems, processes, and a team that's able to operate the business so well at peak performance that the business owner, yourself, doesn't need to be there for it to be operated. So, if you are the person running the events, if you are the person doing all the writing, if you're doing all the selling, then you don't own a business. You're not a business owner yet. You are still self-employed, right? And that's in a technical term, okay? Now, you're not a solopreneur because you have a team, but you're not classified as a business owner because the business still needs you to operate, okay? So you're still considered what they call self-employed. Robert Kiyosaki talks about the 4 major quadrants. He talks about the goal is to get from what he calls the left side to the right side, okay? Now the left side is an employee and self-employed, right? Because they directly need you to make what? Make the money, right? So that means that you're trading your time for money because you're still needed to be there to make the money. On the right-hand side of the cash quadrants, we have business owner and investor, right? And business owner investor, the reason why they're on the right side of the cash quadrant is because they don't require you to make money. If you invest in something and invest in something that brings in cash flow, you invest one time with the law of maintenance, of course, right? It's not just a set it, forget it. That doesn't work in this world. But you invest something and you're gonna get paid not on your time, but on the vehicle. Same with a business owner. You get paid when your systems are operating with or without you. Awesome, right? So the goal to win the money game is to move from the employee self-employed side to the right side is being the business owner or the investor. What knowledge or skills should I acquire to become that business owner, to not be needed in your business, okay? And so I have 3 really important parts here. And these are things that I've worked on over the last 10 years. So it's not like an easy process when you're in the weeds of doing stuff, right? Even as an employee, it's not easy to just delegate things and move up in ranks. You're used to certain ways and certain habits of doing things and getting things done, right? So we have the first part, which is the most important. And the biggest thing that I see as a difference maker between, I would say, my old self to my new self is the way that I show up. What does that even mean? Means that being the business owner is what you really got to focus on. So when I was not making $1 million a year, right? I was operating as someone who didn't make $1 million a year. But here's the deal. I wanted to make more than $1 million a year. So I was like, okay, what do I need to do? And the first thing that came up to me was, I need to start thinking and acting like a business owner that makes $1 million a year or more. And so I asked myself, what am I doing throughout my day? And is that in alignment with someone that I perceive as making $1 million or more a year? And so what did I do? I did an audit of my time. I did an audit of my activities. And I started to list out all the different things that I was doing throughout the day. And then I asked myself, are these things that a multi-million-dollar business owner would be doing? And the answer was no. I wasn't doing things that this business owner, or if you want to be an investor, would be doing. I was acting like a self-employed business owner and a lot of times like an employee, right? And so what is really important is that you got to first become that person that is going to, be the business owner, meaning you need to start putting different activities in place than you're currently doing. And what does that mean? It means understanding what you're doing and looking at what else I can do to start to alleviate some of the stuff that is not in alignment with the business owner, or if you want to choose to be an investor, you can do that as well. So we need to start thinking about, okay, are we acting and thinking like these people? So when I had big mindset things of like, what do I want? What's my next goal? Again, it's what am I doing throughout my day? And am I spending majority of my time in the lower goal or the upper goal? Now, obviously it's a work in progress, right? And you have to balance it because you can't blow up your whole business or blow up what you're doing. But at the same time, the next point is, how do I get there, right? So there's this amazing book called Traction. It's called Traction. And it's a great book that kind of lays out a lot of different foundations to work on your business. See, one of the biggest differences between those who are the business owners versus those who are self-employed and employees is you're working in the business, right? You are executing in the business. The business owner actually works on the business, right? Strategically. And so the second point to move into the business owner role is you got to strategically plan, right? Strategically plan, meaning you have to create a plan for how you're going to, what we call, alleviate some of the activities that you're doing. So the first goal of your strategic plan is, number one, doing an audit of activities. And you could do this for your personal life. You could do this for your relationships. You could do this with your health. You could do this with your money. You could do this with your business. Auditing what you're doing, meaning just tracking what you're doing, because one of the things that Harv says that I will repeat, what you track improves, right? So if you don't know what you're doing, guess what's really hard to do? Improve, right? So we need to track what we're doing. Again, it works for all aspects of our life, but we're talking about a business owner here. We need to say, what are we doing, right? And if we're spending 15 to 20 hours on our email, and we're spending all this time in our admin, and these are activities that we can actually hire out for, right? Well, then we need to think about what can we do instead of that time. Like if we got that 15 or 20 hours back of our time, what would we be doing to grow our business or to systemize our business or to create processes in our business so that we can be that business owner? So that we don't have to be in the business. But most of us don't think like that. We just think that automatically sometimes gonna happen and we're like, oh, I don't have enough time anymore. I need to hire more people, right? And one of the things that people make a mistake is they hire for things that they think they need versus hiring for things that will buy back their own time. See, one of the biggest principles you can learn is you don't hire out for things that you don't have. You hire for things that you're currently doing because you are the founder. You are the person. You are the person that needs more time. And you're the person that's going to create the atmosphere of you creating a business, not someone else, not some agency to do that, right? So we need to buy back our time, meaning that we need to audit what we're doing, look at the activities, then start with the low-hanging fruit and say, how can we start buying back our time by placing someone else to do that? Because theoretically, if you're already making sales and already making money, if you put someone in place and you give yourself more time, you can make more money.